What's up, guys? Gene Fetty back at you with another episode of the All Access podcast from Dent Repair Now. This is episode number 63. We're trucking right along. What is it? We're into April, right? First week of April, actually recording on Easter. Happy belated Easter when you listen to this tomorrow. Um, this episode is brought to you by me with my advanced glue pull 1 day training at Anson on May 1st, the day before their open house to celebrate their 30th anniversary. 30 years serving the PDR business. And man, I'm honored to call them friends. The entire Anson crew are pretty spectacular. Um, the advanced training at Anson, it's going to be Friday, May 1st, 9 to 4:30. Lunch will be included. It's going to be a mix of demonstration and hands-on. We're going to be unlocking panels with lateral tension, uh, reshaping metal, right, to pull deeper, more difficult dents, diving into creases, utilizing glue pull for sharp dents, for stretched dents, for bodyline dents. So combination of push and pull. And I'm going to dive into and give you some of my best tips and tricks for cold glue, which over the last few years has made me incredibly more efficient at glue pulling. You can sign up for that class at dentrepairnow.com/advanced hyphen glue hyphen pull, advanced glue pull on Dent Repair Now. I will also include that link in the show notes, in the description, depending whether you're watching or listening. Um, Seats are limited. We're only going to have 7 seats. Price is $7.99. And Anson, in all their amazingness, thank you, Christina, is giving everybody who attends the class a $100 gift card to Anson. So really, it's like getting the class for $6.99 and some free tools. So that's that. That's the sponsorship. Sign up so we can keep doing this and keep putting events on. Today's episode, sales. I had to go back and look through the archives to make sure I haven't done this because I teach this fairly regularly at some in-person events. Sales is so important. Sales is really the lifeblood of your business. And I don't care whether you are a wholesale tech, right? You're selling those jobs every day to those managers, right? If you're a hail tech, you could be selling yourself to the person running the storm, selling yourself to the body shop. And then when you're in the body shop, right, if you're writing cars and helping customers, you've got to sell to the customer. And then, of course, in retail, right, in brick and mortar shops, in to customer sale or direct to customer services, you absolutely, without a doubt, are selling. You're selling all the time, whether you want to or not. Almost all of us, if not 100% of us, like I would say 99.9% of us, got into this business not because we like business, not because we liked sales, not because we liked marketing, but we are technicians by trade and technicians at heart. We got into this because we were like, oh, for me, I saw Charlie do this. I saw Denny do this. And I'm like, well, if those guys can do it, I can do it. And if they can make money, I can make money. And when I went to dent school, PDR training, I think they may have touched on sales, like something along the lines of like, well, just walk in and give them your business card and tell them you can fix dents. Like that was really about the extent of my sales training because we were technicians at heart, right? And that creates a lot of struggles in this business and these businesses we run is we don't have necessarily the mind of a salesperson or the mind of a marketer or, unless we're Matt Moore, the mind of a business uh, person, like an all-around business person. Sales is your lifeblood. You are not a dent tech until you sell a job that allows you to fix a dent. Until then, you are a marketing person and a salesperson, period, until you actually get to fix the dent. So I want to go through and talk about. some of my sales philosophies, give you some of the resources over the years that I've used. Certainly go back and listen to some of those old PDR College podcast episodes where Keith and Shane dive into sales. I want to start with my favorite quote about sales. And I'll give you a little background on that. Um, Zig Ziglar, rest in peace, Zig, has a quote that says, "If you truly believe in the product or service that you're selling, you have a moral obligation to sell it." Now, when I first heard that, I was like, whatever kind of BS that is, man. I'm just trying to sell stuff. I'm just trying to make things happen. As I've grown, as I've learned, right, I now have a moral conviction behind me to sell. So let me tell you a little story. When I started doing retail, my buddy Larry, rest in peace, Larry, uh, we were both just wholesale guys. And I started reaching out and moving in, branching into retail. He saw some of the jobs I was getting, and we talked all the time. And he's like, "You got how much for what? You got this, you got that." And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, it works. Like I'm telling you, it works." So, introduced a price guide, so on and so forth. He went out to help me on a job. It was actually a car that I forgot to put the latch or the cable back on the handle inside the car, right? So the driver's door handle inside didn't work because they didn't put that wire in there, the cable in there, right? You had to reach out and open it from the outside. Well, the customer called the next day and was like, "Hey, my door's not working." And as soon as he said that, I knew exactly what I did wrong. I was like, "Oh, yep. Turns out I forgot to put that cable in." Well, the problem is where I was at is like the west side of my route when I did that. Well, that day I was at the southern point of my route, which is like an hour away from the western point. And then the customer lived about 45 minutes north of there. So I'm almost 2 hours away from this customer. And I'm like, can't leave the dude hanging. Well, I happened to look and it was like, let's call it a Tuesday. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Larry goes to team on Tuesdays. That's in the same town that this dude lives in. Let me see if like let me take a Hail Mary and see if I can get him. So I call Larry. I'm like, "Hey, dude, I need help. Here, I ran through the story, forgot to put this cable on. I can tell you exactly what you need, what to pull apart." And he's like, "Yeah, just have him come meet me at the dealership. We'll get it taken care of, no problem." So he goes, fixes the door panel, starts talking to the customer, and at the end of the day, he calls me and he's like, "Hey, you're all good to go." And he goes, "Did you really get $800 to fix that door?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, all day." Like somebody, if memory serves, I think somebody kicked the door or shoved a shopping cart into it. Like there's a crease through the edge of the door, maybe just touched into the back of the door. I think I may even have it up on my YouTube channel. If I can find it, I'll put the link. So it was like a nothing crazy dent. But he's like, I could see where that dent was, little evidence at that door edge. Um, Stamping mark. Like it looked great. Customer was stoked, but it wasn't flawless. It was just a really great repair. He's like, "Man, you got to show me how to do this." I'm like, "Well, come on, let's do some ride-alongs and we'll go from there." So Larry hopped in the car with me, a couple times over a couple of weeks and watched my process and listened to my sales process and how we're dealing with customers. And right at the time, I'm still doing wholesale and retail. So I'd go knock out my dealers, then go do my retails or catch a retail in between dealers and work through all of that. And he's like, "Man, this is amazing. I need to do this." But side note, Larry was always like that $100 dent guy, right? Like, I don't know, how's $100 sound? I don't know, how's $100 sound? Never really sold for more than that, unless it was a hail car, right? So calls me up one day and he's like, "Listen, dude, I went out and I looked at this truck. It's a brand new Silverado. It's hitting the bedside." He's like, "I quoted him $300 or $350." And I'm like, "Oh man, that's awesome. Like, you got to tell me how it goes." He's like, "Oh, I'm going back out tomorrow to do the job. And I'm really stoked. And the guy doesn't want to paint his truck. It's brand new." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, this is great." Now, I've got him using a price guide. I've got him away from that $100 dent guy mentality, I thought. And he calls me the next morning at like 10 a.m. Now, Larry's a little bit of an early riser, but I didn't think he'd be done that fast. I'm like, Larry, how'd it go, dude? Like, man, it went out. Like, did you get it? And he's like, sighs, oh, dude, couldn't fix the dent. I just couldn't get it. And I'm like, man, everything you described to me yesterday sounds like a fixable dent. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. And man, I just can't put that kind of time into it. And I don't know. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, Larry, like, back to school. Let's talk about that dent because what you described to me yesterday in my head sounds a whole lot more than a $350 dent. So we walk through and I pull out my price guide and I'm like, I go, Larry, that should be like a $1,200 dent, dude. And he goes, well, if I was getting $1,200 for it, I could have fixed it. I'd have been there all day and I'd got it done. This is the moral obligation, right? Where it's coming in. I go, Larry, you just sold everybody short. I said, first, you let yourself down because you packed up all your stuff. You drove out there yesterday, right? You went to the guy's house. You spent, you're a bullshitter like me. God knows how much time you spent talking to the customer, setting it up. So let's call it an hour, right? And then plus some transit time. Then you came back and then you drove back there today and you unpacked all your stuff and you got set up and you worked for however long you worked. And then you tapped out and then you had to pack all your stuff back up and drive back home. Like you just screwed yourself out of hours and hours of productivity and money and you didn't get anywhere, right? You let yourself down. And he's like, well, I kind of did. And I go, Larry, you really let the customer down. Like, this is this dude's brand new truck. He doesn't want it painted. And I can appreciate that. I can't stand paint work, right? It doesn't want it painted, wants to save the truck, wants to save his paint. He might go trade this thing in now because you couldn't fix it, right? So now you let your customer down because you couldn't save his truck. And he's, all right, well, I guess you're right. And I said, and most importantly, you let the entire PDR industry down. He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, from now on, forever, anytime somebody happens to mention paintless dent repair to that customer, what's he going to say? Oh, I tried that once. It doesn't work. Oh, man, that's just smoke and mirrors. They can't do anything. I had this little dent on my truck and they couldn't fix it. So you let yourself down. You let your customer down. And hell, you let me down because I'm part of the industry, right? You let us all down. When you go out to sell a job, or when you're out working and you're selling a job, it is your moral obligation to sell that service for the right dollars to allow you to work on the car the right amount of time with the right amount of effort to deliver the right product that makes a customer happy. Right? Flip side, another story. Um, and I think I've mentioned this car on here before. If not, I should have. I think it's probably in the social media episode. Right, I had a brand new 540M package, 540, 550. Anyways, sweet BMW with an M package on it. Customer calls me up at like 7 in the morning, a couple calls. In fact, I'm certain this goes back to the media portion of the podcast somewhere. Anyways, dude calls me. He's totally sold. I go out, I write it. At the time, it was my most valuable single panel repair, not a hail ever, right? Like good deer hit on the door or on the quarter panel. And I want to say we were high 2000s and change, 27, 28, 29. I don't think I cracked 3000. But anyways, it was going to be a difficult repair. But I set the right expectations. Went through a lot of stuff just like Larry did, right? Like I drove out, wrote the estimate, waited for the insurance, and then drove back out and then unpacked my stuff. So I get into this thing and I'm working and I'm like 4 hours in. Access is terrible. Like I'm sneaking through the tail light. I've got the wheel off, sneaking through some the screw holes in the wheelhouse. But it is hard, right? It's not glue pulling well. I've got a shot out at the edge. Like it sucks. So 4 hours in, right, and that head trash starts going. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I can fix this thing. This is pretty terrible. What am I going to do with like, if I sit here all day and I can't fix it, this is ridiculous. Right. And I, go through this and I'm beating myself up and beating myself up. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but let's be reasonable here, Gene. Let's round number it and call it 3 grand. If I fix this thing in a day, I have a pretty spectacular day, especially for not doing hail. And this is like 8, 9 years ago. I don't think it was 10 years ago. Could have been 10 years ago. Long time ago. Really, really killer retail day. I go, listen, if you got to come back tomorrow and do this again, you split that up, that's still two $1,500 days back to back. Not the end of the world, right? And you can do a lot of pushing in 16, 18, 20 hours, like whatever it takes. I had that big boy conversation with myself and I put my big boy pants back on and I went back to work and I did end up finishing the car at like the 8 hour mark, right? Good, just a good full day. Looked beautiful. Customer was stoked, got to keep his car. I had a great day. However, it only happened because I took the time and I believed in my service and product and I sold with and then worked with that moral obligation behind me to deliver what I said I was going to do when I said I was going to do it for the price to the level of repair I said I could do. And everybody wins, right? So I didn't let myself down. I had a kick-ass day. This dude was literally going to trade the car in if I couldn't fix it, right? So I saved his day and saved his car. And guess what? That dude forever is a huge proponent of paintless dent repair because this dude came out and saved his car from the body shop. It was amazing. If you don't have that moral driver behind you, you're going to let your head trash in and you're going to panic like Larry did. And I mean, you can't tell this dude 3,000. Like, that's going to, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So on and so forth. You've got to have that moral obligation behind you. So, anyways, that's my long story on my favorite quote from Zig Ziglar. Speaking of which, right, I said I was going to give you some um, resources that I used over the years. I believe it is Secrets of Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar. I love the audiobook. He reads it and he's got this southern accent, and I understand it's a love it or hate accent. I could listen to Zig all day long. I love how that dude talks. I love how he tells stories. But that is an amazing resource of a book. Um, you've gotta read that for sure. So let's talk a little bit of sales theory, right? So one, I work with that moral obligation. So if I'm selling morally, man, I'm really driven to sell as aggressively and honestly as I can, right, to make it happen. Sales, even today, has this connotation of like being sleazy. And certainly there are sleazy salespeople out there, right? Like go to a timeshare sales presentation if you want to see some like selling hard, sleazy sales tactics, like go check out one of those. I highly don't recommend buying one, but the sales process is certainly something to see. I like to think of a salesperson instead of like the sleazy car salesman from the 70s, right? In the leisure suit and smoking a cigarette and drinking a coffee. I like to be an advisor, right? Like when I'm selling, I want to be a trusted advisor to the customer. I want to help educate them. I want to help walk them through the process, and I want to make it easy for them to do business with us. When you are selling, you need to be in a positive mindset, right? So in my company, right, a lot of our sales, a lot of our not even sales, a lot of our business starts with a phone call, right? Instead of just walking in, a lot of people are at least call, hey, can I bring my car by? The number one thing I teach all of my people, and it goes way back, is to before you answer the phone, Smile. Throw a smile on, right? Just, hey, Dent Repair Now, this is Gene. How can I help you? Or, hey, this is Gene. Do you hear how like the inflection comes up? Hey, this is Gene. Thanks for calling Dent Repair Now. How can I help you? Smile. It will physically change your body. In fact, I think I even caught myself like sitting up a little bit higher in the chair when I smiled. Even as a customer walks through the door, throw a smile on, right? Like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. How can we help you today? Be positive, be friendly, and be outgoing. There are three rules or three things that need to be found before any sale will ever happen. Um, they need to, it's know, like, and trust. And if you are missing any one of those three legs, you will not make the sale or you will struggle to make the sale. So, know. If they get to know you and they like you and they feel like you're trustworthy, you've got three good marks going towards them saying yes to a sale. So, some of the ways that I like to do the no part is content, right? Don't be afraid. And I preached this not long ago. Get your face on camera and get out there. It is amazing when it's still so cool. It's weird, but cool when a customer walks in or when Shannon comes and grabs me, hey, can you come out look at this car? And I walk out and they're like, hey, I watched your videos. Oh my gosh. They already feel like they know you. Another thing is they need to like you, right? So be friendly, be outgoing with your hair on the shoulder, kind of driving me crazy. Be outgoing, right? So don't sit there with your arms crossed like this and closed. Yeah, how you doing? What's up? Right? You look like it. Like you don't want to be bothered with them, right? Open your arms. Hey, how you doing? Throw a hand out. I'll give a wave. Hey, thanks for coming in. How you doing? Right? Starting to make them begin to like us already because people like friendly people. A great book, Keith definitely turned me on to this book, by Nicholas Boothman, is How to Make Them Like You in 90 Seconds or How to Convince Them in 90 Seconds. So it's a lot of body language and neuro-linguistic programming, things you can do, body language. Keith's touch of the elbow. Keith, if you listen, I caught you do that a couple times in Italy. Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? Yeah, good to see you. Caught the elbow touch. Just made me smile on the inside. Learn how to build that instant rapport, right? Tell a joke, right? My favorite dad joke when they walk through the door is, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, man, not so good." I'm like, "Yeah, nobody ever likes to come see me here." And then they kind of chuckle. They're like, "Yep, like it's no fun to come in and see the dent guy because obviously somebody dented the car." And then finally, they need to trust you. So engage with them, right? Don't disengage. Now, I'm a little self-conscious that and I even have some friends, what's up, Dan Meltner, that will call me out on when I'm talking, and I know I do it on here, trying to maintain eye contact with you right there in the camera. But as I'm thinking and picturing things, I'm going up here in my head, and I'm like, "Yep, when Larry was doing this, he's talking about here, and we're going this way," or I'm up here trying to remember this. Always come back and pay attention, not awkwardly, not like this, right? We don't need to trip anybody out, but make good eye contact with them. A little tip I picked up, and it may have even been in the Nicholas Boothman book, is to look them in the eye just long enough to identify their eye color. Oh, brown eyes, green eyes, gray eyes, blue eyes, right? Just make a note, and that keeps it not awkward, right? We're not just staring, you're staring into my eyes, right? But it's enough to make contact. And then um, really start to ask them questions, right? A person's favorite topic is themselves. Oh man, any idea how this happened? What's going on here? Right? So we're getting them to open up and tell their story. And side note, right, for a deeper actual class, is now we're starting to get information on how the dent happened. Oh man, I let my daughter borrow the car, and she was going out, and it was garbage day. The garbage can was at the end of the driveway. She's backing out, and bam, just caught the quarter panel. Oh, that's terrible. And then try to connect, right? Listen, I got a daughter at home too, blah, blah, blah. Like, always makes me nervous when she's backing out. Thank goodness she hasn't hit our garbage can. Like, just connect if you like the car, or if you can find something genuine about the car that you love. Hey, man, I love this color on your Kia Forte. Like, the Kia is not going to get me excited, but maybe it is a beautiful color. Or it's black. Oh man, you got a black car too? I bought my black truck. It looks amazing for like 30 seconds after I wash it, and then it's dirty again. Like, I'll never do that again. But just find ways to connect. If you open with that good greeting and you make contact and you've got good body language and we're making eye contact and we're getting them talking and getting them flowing, we're starting to build that know, like, and trust immediately. Right. And that is where sales happens, right? Like, that is the magic of getting all three legs of the stool together. Some other tricks, tips, tricks. I don't really like tricks. Tricks sounds shady. However, right, like, sales is a little bit of psychological warfare in a good way, because remember, I'm morally obligated to sell you my service, in this case, dent repair, uh, for what it's going to take for me to make it right. Right. So it's not tricks. It's not uh spiel, right? That, like, ask Keith about his sales spiel. It's not a spiel, like, it's a genuine conversation. Anyways, something else we do is like to educate. So when we go out and in retail, certainly a lot of times we're looking at big damage, right? So how did this happen? Start walking them towards, like, is it an insurance claim or not? Would it be collision or comprehensive? How would the body shop fix this? I just had a Subaru in the other day. And the guy's like, oh man, I don't, I was hoping you could pop it out. And I'm like, I don't think we're going to pop this out. And he's like, yeah, this edge is going to be real bad right where it meets the bumper. And he's like, well, if it needs painted, what are they going to do? And on that particular car, I think it was a Legacy, right? Like, the dog leg down to the rocker cover, and then up the quarter, and then at the uniside, to all the way up to the fender. So I'm like, oh, listen, if the body shop's got to paint this, they can't just spot it in here. Like, they're going to do all this. And he's like, oh, well, that is a big panel. I don't want it painted. He goes, then it's not going to match and everything, because I'm taking that educational approach and walking him through and showing him. He already knows right through that process that, man, if I can do paintless dent repair and save this from the body shop, I'm going to be so much better off. I won't have to worry about color match. I won't have to worry about this. But by taking that educational approach, right, we're there. Instead of getting all hung up on, he thought this dent was going to, like, pop out real quick, hard chop through the edge, right where the bumper meets the quarter. Like, somebody backed into his daughter while she was in a parking lot. Like, she was driving down the aisle, dude. But, like, to give you an idea of the dent, definitely not a popper. But it took that educational approach and walked him through. A lot of times, I had another, right, brand new Atlas just the other day, and those body lines are stupid sharp. Like, they're stupid sharp, and then they've got a real subtle concave underneath. And the guy came in and he's like, man, I've only had this thing for 2 weeks. He goes, I haven't even made a payment on it yet. And this happens. He's like, I'm just sick. And he's like, well, how long is it going to take you? I'm like, well, at least a couple hours. Like, it's a pretty good dent. Like, we're not popping anything out. Well, in my shop, the customer waiting area has a big picture window that they can look through into the shop. So I've got the light set up. I've got a K power on there, pulling tension this way to help me. And we're doing a little bit of crown work, and we're pushing and moving lights and got the heat gun going. And I brought him out to show it, and he's like, dude, that's a lot of work. And I'm like, well, I understand that's a lot of work. Like, I do it all the time. And he's like, man, I thought you guys used magnets or just, sucked it out. He goes, I had no idea that paintless dent repair was so involved, because I even called my buddy to tell him, like, hey, they're not just popping this out and using magnets. He couldn't believe that we don't use magnets, but whatever. Um, because he got to see the process and watch what walked through, like didn't question price. Obviously, he was all in and was just absolutely amazed at not what we could do, because I think his expectations were like, I want my new car to look new again, but what it took to get there, right? Walked him through the process and bringing him out and showing him. It's pretty fascinating stuff. When we're selling, right? Like, here's a great tip: use a price if you have to be. So when we were in Italy, like nobody's using software to do it. Like, I don't know if Mobile Tech RX hasn't penetrated, or anybody hasn't penetrated, or maybe it's just a culture thing, but nobody over there is using software. Like when Bryce was talking about pricing, we're like, who uses software? Like literally three people's hands went up. Obviously, here in the States, right, software has been adopted very well and is working. The perception of the customer is they've got a little dent and they want the dent popped out, and it like went in fast, so it obviously comes out fast. You can't get mad at them for that because they don't know what it takes, right? Just like the dude with the Atlas I was just talking about. I've got paper price guides that match my Mobile Tech RX price guide. I've got Mobile Tech RX. When we go out and price, right? I'll say, hey, our price starts at X for 1 inch of damage, and then it's X for each additional inch. And then we look at things that might make it more difficult to fix. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. A little psychological warfare trick is when I've got this out, right, and we scan the VIN and we're punching it in and we're going. I'm not like this to them on my phone, right? We discover the price together. So I come over and I can't do this, but like stand next to each other. And I'm like, all right, so here we go. We're on the quarter panel. You can see up here, and I'll have my tape measure out. I'll be like, this is like 9 inches, kind of picturing that Subaru Dent. I said, but we know that this drops down below where the bumper is because that's hidden, probably another inch or two. So let's go, we're going to call it 10 inches. Oh, yeah, okay. And man, that is really deep. Like you can see where that was deep, and oh yeah, that's definitely deep. So like the deep button, and I'm like, and here's this body line, right? This body line, we're gonna have to rebuild this. Oh yeah, I see the body line, and they're watching not me tell them this, but we're walking through the process on here, and it's okay, yep, yeah. And listen, and we're gonna have to take the rear bumper off, right? We go to here, we're doing this. And honestly, if we're unplugging these things, we're gonna do some scans. Gotta give you back a safe car. You've got all these sensors here in the bumper. Oh yeah, that makes sense. So we're gonna do a pre-scan beforehand, a post-scan. So we're walking up, and now instead of me telling them, this is a $1,400 repair, the software told them it was a $1,400 repair. It's no longer arbitrary, right? It's no longer Larry being $100 sound, right? Like it's a process. We walk through it. Body shops have figured this out a long time ago. When you walk in there, you end up with this 6 page or 8 page book on how they're going to fix your car that's written in some foreign language, and you don't even understand. And at the end, you're like, okay, it's I guess $10,000 to fix my car. Well, I've got a book here that tells me that makes sense. It's the same thing here, right? We're walking through the process. You also, right, because this is a guide, can use this, you can work against it, right? Listen, if I go by the book here, you're actually like just over 3 inches, which makes it 4 inches. But I'll tell you what, like it's instead of four, we're gonna keep it at three, and we won't worry about that extra eighth of an inch or quarter of an inch. Like we'll bring it back. Oh man, thank you so much. That's awesome. Now listen, this body line's supposed to be 25%, but we've got this huge dent. It's just touched it a little bit. We're gonna slide that down a little bit. Oh, really? Yeah, you can do that. Oh, that's amazing. Right? So now we're helping to work and build that know, like, and trust even better. It really is an amazing process to go through. I still find sales and dealing with people fascinating. Like it's so interesting. As we're walking through, right, we're working through that process. It also allows us to anchor a high dollar amount. right? So, or maybe high dollar amount is the wrong word, but anchor the proper dollar amount, right? It's high. When I deliver the price, this is my when I do the training, I got a Mr. T slide because it cracks me up, and I'm a child of the 80s. When you deliver your price, your final price, well, Mr. Smith, that's going to be $1,572.83. Mr. T says, "Shut up, fool." In this psychological warfare game we're playing, right? 'Cause it's a game, we're having fun with it. When you deliver the price, the next person to talk loses, right? So, Mr. Smith, that's going to be $1,582.73. Are you feeling awkward yet? Like you can feel awkward. It felt a little awkward just sitting there. I can remember one, one car. The guy was he was kind of a nacho, uh, and kind of a jag off, which is a Pittsburgh word for like a pain in the ass. But like, dude was a jag, and I wasn't gonna back down. Like I was kind of trying to prove a point, and not necessarily trying to sell the job, but like I wasn't gonna crack. And I could tell he was a little bit more of like the sleazy salesman kind of guy. And Shannon was out in the parking lot with me looking at this car, and I delivered the price, and I'd say a word. And it was longer than that pause I just gave you guys. I mean, it may have gone a full minute. And you could see him like staring me down and having a conversation in his head. And I could see Shannon starting to get like antsy. But like, dude, there is no way that I'm talking next. Like, he can get in his car and leave. I ain't talking next. Period. Like, that's it. That should have been his place to leave and then call in, and Shannon would have said hello, and then we would have lost. I guess that's how you win that. But like, awkward to the point where like Shannon standing out there was getting awkward. Anyways, we didn't close the sale. The guy was a nacho. I think he really needed probably a body shop. He just didn't want to hear it. Anyways, we go inside, and Shannon was like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "That was so stressful." She's like, "I was going to talk. I just couldn't handle it. But then I remembered Mr. T says, 'Shut up, fool.' And I just kept my mouth shut." And I'm like, "Yep, like, we're not going to talk next." So remember, Mr. T says, "Shut up, fool," when you deliver that price. Speaking of delivering price, right? Like, it's exciting to talk about great money on great repairs for great dollars. You need to build up to that price. So I have two pictures that come into my head, right? You can be a sledgehammer, right? And instead of showing Mr. Smith how we worked up to those dollar figures, right? Like, hey, I need to get this dent fixed. And the first mention of price is, well, Mr. Smith, it's $1,582.73, or whatever random number I'm throwing out at you. That is like coming in and with a sledgehammer, wham, here's your price. And they're like, whoa, whoa, what the? I thought this could have been $50. I know. How did we even get $1,500? Oh my Lord. Or, or my favorite approach, I'd never like to sledgehammer anybody. I mean, there's some people I'd like to hit with a sledgehammer, but that's few and far between. All right, sorry, a little sidetracked. The other picture I like is, and I enjoy fine dining. Dave Shalott, I don't know if you listen, but if you do, we need a fine dining dinner because some of the best meals ever have been with that dude. Um, when you go to a nice restaurant, right? Like even just go to a great local steakhouse, and I don't mean Outback or Longhorn. I mean like a real deal nice steakhouse. My favorite here in Pittsburgh's Capitol Grill. If anybody's ever in town and wants to go grab a great steak, let's go to the Capitol Grill. I know it's a chain, but this particular location knocks it out of the park every single time. Oh, love it. But when they come out, they bring their menu and everything is a la carte, right? Like nothing is included anywhere. And I don't mind paying, and I understand that, right? But they're like, they've got their fancy napkin on their arm. not actually there, but for visualization purposes. And they're like, oh, here are our steaks we prepared tonight. This is, we've got a beautiful bone-in filet. We've only got a few left, and that is for $78. Oh man, that sounds great. Oh, great. You'd like the bone-in filet? Would you care for any additions to that? Would you like the Kona coffee crust? Or would you like to have that Oscar style with some lump crab and some beautiful sauce? Or would you like to have it all poivre with the peppercorn and cream sauce? Oh man, my mouth's watering. I can't wait to go to Easter lunch, Easter dinner. I had like 2 hours to go. Dude, I'm gonna be so hungry. But anyways, like they're walking through that. Like, oh yeah. Oh, and for your side dishes, now they're big enough to share. Would you care for the lobster mac and cheese, or would you like the truffle fries? Highly recommend the truffle fries and the lobster mac. But if I got to pick one, dude, the truffle fries at Capitol Grill are amazing. Right? Truffle fries. Oh, how about our wild mushroom mix that's all stirred up? Oh, it's so good. In fact, we just had some leftovers the other night from there. Uh, all of this. Would you like this? Oh yeah, I would love that. Oh yeah, give me some of that. Give me some of this. Well, now my like $78 steak dinner, which doesn't sound bad, just turned into my $200 steak dinner because I've got this and this and this, and I'll have a drink and we'll have an appetizer and we'll do this. And at the end of the day, right, we've got our bill, but they didn't come out and they were like, all right, you're sitting down for dinner. Here's your bill, 400 bucks for the two of you. Holy, where'd that come from? Never questioned it. I'm like, oh. Yeah, there's my $78 steak, and there's the $40 mac and cheese, and there's this, and there's that, right? They build up and they make it an experience and they get there. Just the same way we're using Mobile Tech RX, and we're like, listen, would you've got this beautiful 10-inch dent here with a little side of body line and a little sprinkle of deep with some R&I and a little bit of pre and post scan to make sure we're giving you back a safe car. Like, oh yeah, yeah, I gotta have that. I gotta have that. And then we deliver the price so much better than the sledgehammer approach, even for the same dollars. But it also shows that you're not just randomly pulling these things out of your butt, right? It's a reason, it's working through, it's showing the whole process of how to get there, right? It is absolutely the best way to sell. Oh, what else can we talk about? Ooh, the closes. I'm going to give you a couple closes. Um, Simplest one, the assumptive close, right? And someday I'll tell you the suit story with the assumptive close. Damn, that dude was good. But the assumptive close is like, of course, I believe in my product or service. I have my moral obligation to sell this to you, right? We've walked through. Why would you not schedule? So I want to give them a yes or a yes option. Okay, great, Karen. So look at our calendar here. We can get you in next Thursday at 9 a.m. Or if Thursday's not good for you, the following Monday, the 8th, we've got a 10 o'clock open. Which one's better for you? I didn't give Karen a no. Would you like to schedule? No. Oh, okay. We move right into the assumptive close. That especially works really well in a hailstorm, right? People come in. We don't really write estimates. We do a free assessment. We'll do the assessment. Hey, Jim, listen, car definitely needs this. We're gonna have to put a hood on it. Um, we're booking out pretty far. I can get you in on the 14th. Um, if you want to go ahead and schedule now. Otherwise, you're right, it could be another month or so before we can get you in. Oh man, I better drop that off on the 14th. Again, they're here. The car's got damage. We can fix it. Why would you not schedule? Why would you come in if you weren't ready to schedule? Right? So you must be ready to schedule. The next one, and it's not, these are not in order, and these are not all of my closes. These are just a couple of my favorites. Now, I don't expect Shannon or previously Jennifer to be able to deliver this. This is more of a technician's close. I'll call it the cocky close. Love it. I've sold so many jobs with this. When it comes down to it, right? Don't come out of the gate cocky, but when you need to be cocky. Um, the customer's like, oh man, I that's a little more than I wanted to spend. I think I need to shop around a little bit and see what my other options are. great, right? Like that is my trigger for the sale. Joe, listen, I understand. Listen, it is a little bit of an expensive repair. Here's what I can promise you. You probably can find somebody around here to work on your car for less, but I can also promise you that you can't find anybody better in the Pittsburgh market than me to take care of this job for you. And then I pulled the old shut up fool Mr. T move when I deliver that. So many times when I've said that, they're like in person, they're a little taken back. You can even hear a little taken back on the phone, and they're like, well, man, if you're that confident, you're my answer. I gotta go. Where else am I gonna go? If I want the best, I'm already at the best. You just told me. Now I've got the reviews, I've got the repair catalog, I've got the social media content all to back that up. But that close is absolutely fire when it comes to that kind of person. And the last close that I'll give you for this show, because we could literally teach a class all day. Hint, we're going to talk about a class all day at the end of the show. Stick around. Is the protractor close. So, as I was chasing my craft, my career as a technician, I wanted to be the best that I could, the best that I could, the best that I could. And I still want to be great. And I still try to do great work and amazing work, even though Bryce Kelly makes me feel like a bad dent guy. Um, just kidding, Bryce. I love you. You're inspirational. Um, as I've grown and we have employees in a shop, it is now more important for me to do business and make happy customers than it is to always sell the most perfect work at the highest dollars and close for like perfection all the time. It's just unrealistic. We came up with the Protractor Close, which is available for sale on dentrepairnow.com. I'll put the link directly to the class. I think it's like $27 for the class. Um, if the customer is like, oh man, that's just out of my budget. It's not what I wanted to spend. The next question I'll ask them is, I understand. What were you hoping to spend? Now, if they come in and they're like, oh, I thought this was going to be $50, I thought this was going to be $100, we're likely too far apart, right? It just doesn't make sense. But let's say I delivered that $1,000 quote, right? Round numbers. And they're like, man, I was really hoping to like not go above 600 or 700 bucks. Okay. Well, not rule number one of my key rules, one of the biggest rules in sales is never discount for the sake of discounting. Because if I'm like, hey, Jimmy, that's going to be $1,000, and Jimmy's like, man, I was hoping to spend 600 or 700, and I was like, "Ah, I can use 600 or 700 bucks. Okay, we'll do that. Back to psychological warfare. If we discount for no reason, and we tell Jimmy, like, we can do this $1,000 repair for 700 bucks, then we were trying to rip him off at $1,000 bucks. My favorite way to discount is to take things away. Typically, we're taking away quality, right? Like we're going to back it down a little bit. And I'm a million percent okay with that in a good way, right? Because I've got techs out every week doing wholesale work at the dealers, doing great work, but not showroom perfect, show car perfect repairs, right? That everybody's super happy with, that are a whole lot easier to do than trying to gloss this thing out like Bryce does. If he comes back, right, and it was 1,000, and then he's like, I was hoping to, not spend more than 600 or 700, I sort of shift back to um $100 Larry. Not for 100 bucks, but more like shooting from the hip. So I kind of step back and I say, okay, give me a second and let me look at this and see what the least amount is I can do to the car and still feel good about giving you a bill. And then I joke that I say, I could just take this and pull it into the shop and give you a bill for 50 bucks, but you're going to be like, well, what's the 50 bucks for? I'll be like, for pulling it into the shop and back out. It's 50 bucks. And then they laugh. But then I look and I'm like, okay, if we do this, if we do X, Y, and Z, I can make a move here, here, and here. I can make it look good looking straight on. Okay, cool. But as you look from the side, right? It's not going to look so good because it's not finished out. If they're, a lot of times they're just like, in fact, I had a dude the other day. He's like, I just need to not see this when I'm walking up to the car because I never look at the car this way. I just like when I'm walking up, it was a self-imposed garbage can hit, I believe. Or no, it was a sign, a construction sign. He was merging in, and the dude pushed him over, whatever it was, and he hit a sign. Now that I think about it, that story doesn't make sense that he told me. Anyways, neither here nor there. He's like, I just need to not see it when I'm walking up. And I'm like, well, I looked at it, and I'm like, for X number of dollars, I can make it look that way. And he's like, if you can do that, I'm all in. Because he was not all in on the other quote that I gave him. I said, but listen, if you come and look from the side, right, you're still going to see something there. I don't care about that. It's fine. Great. So I'm happy to take this dude's money to fix this to really nice, but not glassed Bryce Kelly nice. Like there will not be a before and after video of this repair, but there will be a before bank account and after bank account change, and there will be more money in my bank account when I'm done with that repair, if that makes sense. Right. So that's the Protractor Close. I go all the way in depth in that in my short class on that, available for sale. Because again, this episode brought to you by me, just like all of the episodes have been. But I'm actually selling and offering some classes with this one. Um, so check that out. So as we approach the hour mark, and I was worried about like filling a half an hour with this. I shouldn't doubt myself with how long I can talk, right? Give me a microphone and look out. Is anybody interested in a soft skills class of not fixing dents better, doing advanced repairs or anything, but like, are you interested in locking yourself in a room with me and studying sales and getting deep into the tactics and everything for a day? Does that interest you? Send me a DM, shoot me a text, drop a comment under the video and let me know what you think. Would you be interested in a soft skills sales training class? Because I know I would love to do that. Uh, yeah, hit me up. Super excited to at the prospect of that. Also, don't forget the 1 day in-person advanced glue pull training at Anson on May 1st in Burleson, Texas. 7.99 with a $100 gift card to Anson. So basically, it's free if you use girl math. I think that's how that works. Maybe. I'm just kidding. Anyways, it's like getting it for 6.99 and some free tools. Space is limited. Again, it's going to fill up. We will be there. It'll be amazing. A little bit of demo, a little bit of hands-on. Super excited to walk through that. I guess you're not really tuning in, right? You probably listened to that spiel at the beginning. DentRepairNow.com/advanced glue pull, advanced glue pull. That's the link. I will have it in the show notes. Follow us at Dent Repair Now across the board on all social media. We are trying to grow. I'm really close to that 4,000 mark on Facebook. If you don't like my Facebook page at Dent Repair Now yet, go do it. Push me over the top. I need to get over 4,000. I'm excited. I really want to get over the 10,000. But for now, I'll be stoked to get to 4,000. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I am stoked for what's to come. I will see you on the next episode.